always do that. Okay, we're recording. So a few of the ground rules are that the advice that is shared is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or heal any ailments, and the statements haven't been evaluated by the FDA. However, this is provided to give you other options and things to try in addition to some things that you are currently doing or want to address. This information is not intended to replace anything that a physician would tell you, but it's just something to give you other options. Like I said, I like to have additional options when thinking about my welfare and my well-being, because it's really up to me exactly how I take care of myself. If you have questions, you're more than welcome to chat, and you can email me at joy@joysoilwell.com. So why do I do this? So the reason I do this, originally, the reason I started out doing this was just to make a little extra money, and because I felt more empowered by being able to take a little better care of my family. That's what you have there, an older picture of myself and my family. And so that's really at the heart of it, why I started doing this. But as it has progressed over time, I continue to do it because I want to be able to make the difference in at least one person's life when it comes to helping them have a better quality of life. And so that's kind of what keeps me going now. That's like my deeper why. My mission overall is I'm committed to providing a path to plant wellness by teaching and distributing CPTG essential oils. I like to coach people on how to have a whole food plant-based diet as I strive to improve my whole food plant-based diet lifestyle, and I encourage people to seek out nature-centered exercises. So you'll see a little starfish there because that just reminds me that if I help just one person, it's important to that one, and that matters. So I'm going to recap real quick the other two classes we've had this month. The first one is what are essential oils, and basically if you don't remember anything else, this is what I want people to remember, is that essential oils are safer, more effective, and less expensive than drugs, and they are an awesome form of plant medicine. So why do oils work? Now, so the really cool thing is that in one drop of oil, you have 40, I think that's trillion million molecules in that one drop of oil. So that drop of oil is very complex. And so what that means is that it can very quickly and very effectively cover all the cells in our body in a very short amount of time. And if you ever think about it, if you're a strong oil user, you can think about how quickly something works, and you're always amazed as to why it works so quickly. This is one of the reasons why. 3 ways that we use oils are aromatic, topical, and internal. So aromatic just means you breathe it in. Topical means you put it on your body, and internal means that you take it and you ingest it, you take it internally. Typically, the easiest way is just put a drop or 2 in your drink, something you're drinking, typically water. But I like to just stick them under my tongue. That's, for me, is the fastest way. There's also soft gels, and you can make your own gel caps as well. Let's get started and focus a little bit more on immune support. So what is the immune system? So I love this picture because it just makes me think of, the body with all its complex systems, and the immune system is that guardian or that defense mechanism that we have that tries to protect us against disease, infection, and helps us recover after we have any kind of injury. And so I never really thought about this too much, but what are all the different pieces that make up the immune system? So it includes several things. It includes your tonsils, your digestive system. People are always talking about having a healthy gut. It includes your bone marrow. So you think about when people have immune compromised issues going on, sometimes, they have to get bone marrow transplants or transfusions. Your skin, your lymph nodes. You think about when you start to get sick, or if you go to the doctor, he checks, right under your jaw and on your throat on each side. He's checking those lymph nodes to see if they're swollen. Your spleen, and then the thin skin on the inside of your nose, throat, and your genitals. All those things are a part of the immune system. So you're thinking, well, how do I know if I have a weak immune system, or how do I know if it's compromised? Well, there's some signs, and these aren't going to be, the only way you can know, but these are some things you can think about to see if you probably have a weaker immune system. If you have persistent colds. So for a healthy adult, the common cold typically isn't anything serious and you usually recover from, but if you're persistently getting them, like you're not really recovering, or you get them frequently, your immune system is probably struggling. If you have repeated infections, the same thing. Healthy adults will develop infections now and again, but if this becomes kind of more of a routine that you have infections, then that's probably means your immune system probably needs some help. So I think I had a relative who every year would get on like clockwork, twice a year would get a sinus infection. And so she started taking the LLV, or the Lifelong Vitality Pack, those supplements that I recommend everyone to take. And she hasn't had one, I think 2, maybe 3 years now, because she gave her immune system just a little bit of a boost. So that's one of the things you can tell. If you're constantly getting colds, constantly getting some type of infection, you may need to start doing something or changing some things to help out your immune system. The other thing is if you have stubborn, swollen lymph nodes. So I experienced this, and I'll tell y'all a story in a minute, but lymph nodes are the bean-shaped glands that can be found throughout your entire body. And so when I had a very serious allergic reaction to some foods that I had eaten, my lymph nodes had swollen so much, I almost didn't recognize myself. And what I found out was that they can stay swollen for a while. The nurse practitioner said it could take a while for them to drain. And I was like, oh no, ma'am. I said, I need this to go down now because I looked so crazy. And it wasn't the ones on the side of my throat. There was one up under, like in the back of the jaw, right before you, like where the throat and the mouth kind of in the back on the underside of the chin. And that was swollen and hard. And I was like, I didn't even know there was one there. So I'm just telling you that because we have them throughout our body and we don't even realize that they're there until they become a problem. And so if you're constantly, dealing with that, if they're stubborn and they don't go down, you're probably fighting something as well. If you have wounds that take too long to heal, that is another sign of a compromised immune system or a weakened immune system. And if you're constantly fatigued, if you're always tired. So if you have one or more than one of these, this may mean that you need to look into ways that you can strengthen your immune system. One of the things I'm going to point out, and I'm only going to focus on one right now, one of the things that really compromises our immune system is processed sugar. And so when I am saying processed sugar, I'm talking about that white stuff that you can buy in the store and it is a vicious cycle. And I know it's a vicious cycle because although I could care less about eating meat and I don't miss the taste of meat, and I can give up milk and dairy. I was a person who drank a gallon of milk a day at one point in my life until the doctor took me off of it. I gave up that. I don't miss it. But the one thing that I struggle with the most is sugar. And it's addictive. And at the same time, it weakens your immune system and it weakens your body. So the reason you get addicted to it is because it lights up your brain. It lights it up. It rewards. It's like a reward, and it provides a dopamine effect. And so the more of it you take in, the more of it you want. That is something I would call an addiction. So that's the reason why you continue to want it and crave it. But at the same time, it causes all these other issues. It's going to wreak havoc on the different systems that are necessary to help with your immune system. For instance, if you look at the kidneys, it says when your blood sugar is too high, the kidneys spill sugar into the urine, which can cause permanent damage. If you look at the liver, if you have too much sugar, the liver converts surplus sugar into fat, and overloading the liver with sugar is similar to overloading it with alcohol. If we want to look at, let's see, the pancreas, the sugar spurs the pancreas to put insulin production into overdrive. So, and the last one is, let's look at the heart real quick. It says too much sugar hardens arteries and damages heart tissue. So overall, you know, getting into that sugar addiction cycle is not good for us. And it's really hard because a lot of, almost all of the foods that you buy that are processed, they've added sugar to it so that you will enjoy it, so that you will continue to eat it and you will continue to buy their products. And that's one of the reasons why I'm, you know, working every day, making small changes to change over to a whole food plant-based diet and trying different things. One thing I can tell you, I'll share with you real quick, is that I have fallen in love with avocados. I made an awesome guacamole yesterday, and basically, you know, I could just eat that in the tortilla and be extremely happy, or just eat that by itself now. And it supplies that texture, that creaminess that sometimes I crave because I like to dip things. So I love, between that and hummus, I'm in heaven. So it's just a matter of figuring out what works for you and what you like and sticking with it and keeping the bad stuff out. So if you're wondering how much sugar should you get, for a man, 9 teaspoons is probably the most that you should have per day. And for a woman, it's 6 teaspoons. Now, if you look at your foods and things that you buy, most things are going to have more than that in a serving. I used to, when I was trying to cut back on sugar, I would look to make sure there was 5 grams of sugar or less in any serving of anything that I bought. But now I'm trying to move towards eliminating processed sugar at all. And when I'm talking about processed sugar, I am not talking about the natural occurring sugars that are in fruits and plant-based sources. So like, let's see, I will use maple syrup, I will use dates. So things like that, that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the stuff that is man-made. So let's move on. I know no one wants to hear me on my soapbox about, or my sugar box about how bad sugar is for us. So how can you improve immune support? Well, here is a list of things, kind of a more of a little detailed list of ways that you can support your immune system. Stay hydrated. And when I say stay hydrated, I mean drink your water. I know lots of people don't like their water. They don't like the taste of it, but it is awesome for you. And your body is always craving it. Most people are in a dehydrated state and they don't realize it. And over time, you get used to it. But drinking your water is really important. When your body is fully hydrated, it works so much better. And a rule of thumb for staying hydrated is half your body weight in ounces. So I would say if you weigh 100 pounds, you should be drinking 50 ounces of water a day. I will not even get to how much water that I know I should be drinking, but I do not drink right now. And if you're one of those people who's just like, you struggle with drinking water, drink some tea, like, you know, drink half tea, drink half water, like just mix it up until you get used to getting in all your water. And I'd also recommend add some of the citrus oils, a drop of citrus essential oil to your water to give it a little different flavor. That might help you as well. The other thing is to eat more whole plant foods. I've already talked about that. We know, for one, it helps you cut down sugar, and it also will give you all of the micro and macronutrients that our body needs. So, and the best source is going to come from the plants, whole plants. Other thing, eat more healthy fats, like I mentioned, the avocado. So, and nuts, and so things of that nature. Eat more of those because they're going to provide you with the healthy fats that are going to be beneficial to your body. And then eat more fermented foods or take a probiotic supplement. I actually do both of these. I do the probiotic every day. doTERRA has 2 probiotics that I love. I take the adult form and the kid form, and I kind of switch them around because the kid one is kind of fun to take because it reminds me of doing pixie sticks when I was little, but it's very beneficial for you. And I love kombucha, and so that's about the only fermented type thing that I will actually take in. I do not like sauerkraut, and I don't think of anything else, but that's it. So if you don't like fermented foods, take your probiotic or do a combination of both. We've already talked about limiting added sugars. Engage in moderate exercise, and we're going to talk about that a little more in a minute. Get enough sleep. This one is one I seriously struggle with because I am a go constantly kind of girl. I actually really only need 5 to 6 hours of sleep, and I'm fine. Occasionally, I can tell when my body needs a little more. My immune system's running on its threads, and I may sleep 8, 9, 10 hours, but that's probably once a month. So with this quarantine, I've tried to get a little bit more sleep than I used to, but still, I just naturally wake up after about 5 or 6 hours, unless I'm fighting something. The other thing is to manage your stress. This one is a sneaky one because you don't really realize how stressed you are sometimes until it starts to make you feel sick, basically. So stress is kind of a silent killer, and it really is, because you don't realize it's building, and then all of a sudden you're like, why is my pressure so high? Why do I have a headache? Well, it's the stress. And there are different ways to manage your stress. One way is to keep a journal. One way is to recognize the things that are stressors for you and learn how to address them ahead of time, or learn how to not even be into those situations at all. If you know someone or a type of person is a stressful person for you, learn how to have boundaries. Have boundaries with that. I'm not saying that you cut people out of your life, but have boundaries. If you know that someone that stresses you and is a taker, then you have your responses ready, or know that it's okay to tell people no, you're not going to do everything for them. The other thing is meditation. Frankincense is awesome meditation oil. It is actually the oil of truth, I believe it is, divine truth. And so it is an oil that is used and thought of to help us connect and have deeper connections with God. For me, it's God. For other people, it may be another divine spirit, but for me, it's God. So it helps you to, it opens you up. It opens you up to be able to connect with the divine, and it just smells yummy. Everyone knows frankincense is my favorite. And supplement wisely. And I've already mentioned the supplements that doTERRA has that has been formulated to fill in holes and provide a foundation for nutritional wellness, which is also going to help support the immune system. So if you look at this list and you think, what does this remind me of? What does this remind you of? Of course, the doTERRA Wellness Pyramid. And I didn't know that. It was when I looked at that list and I was like, hey, what does this remind me of? And that's what it reminded me of, was the doTERRA Wellness Pyramid. So if you've never seen this before, this is the doTERRA Wellness Pyramid. And I love it because at the foundation, it shows you are what you eat. Basically, we need to start there. When people, they ask me, oh, I feel this way, I feel that way, what do you recommend? Or what do you think I should do? I always say, what are you eating? What do you eat on a daily, regular basis? And that's going to tell you a lot about why you feel a certain way. So start there. That's where I say. Then once you kind of master that and start making changes there, and you're comfortable with the changes you're making, add in some exercise. So exercise is really good for circulation. It's good for joint and muscle health, and including your heart, because your heart is a muscle. So exercise helps with that. And plus it helps to elevate your mood. And I'm not saying you have to go do a marathon. I'm just moderate, consistent exercise is really good for you. You need to, again, here's rest and managing stress. That's another thing that's really important to help the change to make, and reducing toxic load. So we didn't go into that too much, but reducing external toxic load and internal toxic load. If you make these other changes, it's going to help a lot with the internal toxic load. And if you're in our Facebook group, you will see lots of ways that you can start to reduce the external toxic load. And when I say that, I mean looking at the health and beauty products that you put on yourself, looking at the cleaners that you're using in your home, looking at the laundry detergent and things of that nature. All of those things are going to have toxins that are in them that really aren't helpful for us, and they build up over time. And we really weren't aware of it. I mean, before I started using doTERRA or the essential oils, I had no clue about how many toxins. I think I had an inkling of a clue, but not to the extent of what's in there. And what's amazing on a lot of the products, you don't know what's in there. They don't even disclose it. You have to do some real research. But what was really cool about the wellness pyramid is that the majority of these things on here are lifestyle changes. These are things that are completely in your control that you can change, and they're going to help to boost your immune system and keep it strong. So when we're thinking about a strong immune system, it's not like there's a magic pill or a button you can flip on and all of a sudden you have this awesome strong immune system. It's going to be something that is continuous, that you will need to do these things continually. So it's not a sprint in this sense. It's going to be more of a marathon. It's going to be, I'm always trying to be preventative. I'm always trying to keep it in the best shape that I can, because you don't know what you're going to encounter or at what time or in what instance. So you always want to try to have it as strong as possible, but it's not something that you can just all of a sudden fix with taking a couple of supplements or eating a couple of apples. This is the long game in terms of strengthening your immune system. Now, above that dotted line, you see healthcare. So yes, I do believe in going to the doctor when it makes sense to go to the doctor. I don't think it makes sense to go to the doctor for every single little thing. That's probably part of the reason why a lot of our healthcare system is overrun and stretched thin right now. So your preventative self-care, that, can mean knowing what your numbers are, know what your pressure is, know what your A1C, if you're borderline diabetic or diabetic, know what those things are so you can take preventative steps for better self-care. So for me, if it's life or death, you need to be going to the doctor. Don't think rubbing on an oil or something is going to help in that instance. Life or death, go to the doctor. But other issues that you can manage over time, let's take control of our health and our wellness and be responsible and accountable for it. Let's talk about some changes. So I always tell people is look at where you are now, evaluate where you are now, and everybody's going to be at a different stage in life in terms of satisfaction with their health and wellness. Where do you want to be? What are your goals? And then from that's where some of the wellness advocates, nutrition coaches or life coaches, other people like that can step in and help you figure out what can I change to get to those goals. So what I typically do with people, I find out what do they want to improve. So I get different answers like weight loss or, better sleep or eat better or just feel better. And so I start with, what are you doing now? I often recommend to keep a food journal, keep a mood journal, just keep track of what they're doing now. And then we set goals. So maybe, your goal may be, I want to drink the recommended amount of water. Well, we start small, start making sure you drink a glass of water every day. And then once that becomes normal and you're not fighting it, then we add another glass or 2 glasses, just whatever. You look at where you are now, you set your goals, and then you make small incremental changes to get there. And so typically we'll look at your eating habits, sleeping habits, supplements that you're taking, and exercise. And those are the main areas where you can make changes over time that you'll see the greatest benefits. So let's look at a few of those. So I've already mentioned this already, but this is the Lifelong Vitality Pack, or LLV if you talk to people. I don't want you to be confused. These are vitamins. These are awesome sauce vitamins. That's what they are. And why are they awesome sauce? Because look at the list of things that they help you with. Cell lifespan and longevity, helps with inflammation response, helps with energy and metabolism, helps with DNA protection, and helps as an antioxidant defense. It helps immune system support, what we're talking about today, but it also helps with stress management, cardiovascular health, bone and joint health, brain and cognitive health, and digestive health. And those last two, I can personally attest that they do a tremendous help for me. My brain fog that I was starting to experience as I got further into midlife, it's lifting, because I was always a person, especially as a young child and, my 20s, early 30s, very quick in terms of remembering things, awesome memory, but it was starting to fade and it was starting to worry me a little bit in terms of, wasn't that I couldn't remember, it just wasn't as sharp as it was. I had a little bit of brain fog, and I know a lot of it is due to eating habits as well. I cleaned some of the eating habits up. I added the LOV, and I feel I am much sharper. I can actually tell a difference when I'm not getting, or if I forget to take my LOV or get off track, that mental sharpness isn't the same. And I love it. I love having that. And also digestive health, it's helped me a lot because I'm very regular. It's like almost clockwork. And I know that it's helped with taking the LOV, the probiotics, and the Terrazyme, which I love as well. So what else can you change? So LOV is one that is definitely is going to help you. And if you want to stop at LOV and get used to taking that, then that's fine. You're going to see a world of difference with just that change. But another change that you can make is to include the ONGUARD family. And so ONGUARD comes in an oil, and you can use that for immune support. You can also put it in the diffuser, and it helps to cleanse the air of pathogens. You can rub it on the bottom of your feet or your kids' feet during school season. You can, teachers can diffuse it in classrooms. It can protect against environmental threats. You can add it to water and create a cleanser. So I do this. Our household cleanser, what we spray surfaces with, is the ONGUARD concentrated cleaner. And so it has ONGUARD in it. And so I make all of our cleaning sprays with that. And it also helps to support a healthy respiratory function. So that's another reason why I put it in the diffuser, especially if people are kind of stuffy. I put that in there with Breathe, and it kind of clears the air, and it helps to clear your respiratory system as well. So I highly recommend ONGUARD. If you're thinking if there's one oil right now, Joy, do you recommend? I'm going to recommend ONGUARD. It's also in a bunch of the starter kits that we have. I think it's in all the starter kits that we have because it's really good. And it's called the Protective Blend, and that's really what it does. It helps to protect. And the first thing I think of is that it helps to boost your immune system, or it supports your immune system. What else? Lemon. So lemon is another one that is really good right now. And it's one that's known for helping to get rid of toxins. And so we talked a little bit about toxins before, but this is also one that I use in my cleaners. I have a friend who the only thing she ever wants is lemon, and she'll buy 4 bottles of lemon with lemon oil, and she makes all of her cleaners with it. It's her favorite thing. It smells yummy. So if you love the smell of lemon, this is the oil for you, one of the oils for you. Again, it's also in all of our starter kits, and it is great for purifying the air as well. I like to put it in and run it in the kitchens and the bathrooms because it really helps with keeping those purified in the air. It naturally cleanses the body, and it aids in digestion, which again is going to be immune supportive. We already talked about why. It promotes a positive mood and cognitive ability. So all of our citrus oils, lemon, tangerine, lime, grapefruit, they're going to all be mood elevators. So they're going to help you lift your mood. Eventually, one of the classes will be about emotional support of the oils, and we'll definitely be talking about all of the citrus oils. You can also use lemon to clean wooden surfaces. You can add it to olive oil, and I've seen another recipe that you can use it for, and you can clean your wooden surfaces. I actually shared a recipe with a friend of mine last week on how she could try to get scratches out of her wooden floor from her dog. She had scratched up her floor, and she was like, thanks. I said, I know. So I was glad to be able to share that with her, and it was natural. She didn't have to think about or worry about, anything toxic or smelly around her son and her kid. And it also helps support a healthy respiratory function. So just think, you put ONGUARD lemon in your diffuser and you run that, and that's going to be purifying the air, supporting your immune system, and supporting a healthy respiratory function. The fanciness comes. So here's some recipes. So you think, okay, Joy, so you're telling me I need to have a strong immune system. I have these oils that you've recommended. I got my starter kit. What do I do? Well, here's some recipes you can use. So there's a sore throat spray recipe here, and it includes ONGUARD and lemon and apple cider vinegar. You put it in your little spray bottle, and you can spray it on your throat when you have a sore throat. Here's is an immune boost blend, and I've made this, and it smells pretty darn yummy. I think it's the cinnamon and the frankincense in there that I love, but it includes cinnamon bark, oregano, melaleuca, frankincense, and lemon. So you put that in a roller bottle, and then and you top it off with your carrier oil, which is usually fractionated coconut oil, and then you have a roller. I would roll that one since it has oregano in it on the bottoms of your feet, because oregano and cinnamon are spicy oils that can be a little warm to the touch, and so you put them on the bottoms of your feet and you're good to go. The other one recipe they called Man Flu Buster, which I love. I always giggle at that name, so think about the man flu. But it includes ONGUARD, ginger, and lemon. And so what you do with that is you mix it with hot water and honey if you want, or you can use maple syrup if you don't eat honey, and you stir before drinking. So it's like a little, you know, when you were younger and the old people would make the hot toddy for you when you were sick. This is kind of like that, but it has the ONGUARD, ginger, and lemon. And I bet it smells real good as well. It's going to have that warm, homey smell to it. I love these transitions. And so another way you can start your change is, you know, incorporating more fruits and veggies. And one way that I do that personally is that I make smoothies. I might make a green smoothie, I might make a fruit smoothie, but I incorporate smoothies. And right here is giving you the guide to making the perfect doTERRA green smoothie. So you'll have a base, which will include your milk of choice. I use unsweetened almond milk, or you could use whatever milk you like. I'm about to try oat milk soon, so I'll let y'all know how I like that. I think it's gonna be a little creamier, or cashew milk is really creamy as well. Also, you can add some type of greens. I typically use kale or spinach. Baby spinach is awesome. Or you can use some other, I've discovered this purple kale that I love as well. You can also add to that the IQ Mega, which is the Omega for kids, but it's in a liquid form, or you can add the Terra Greens. Now the Terra Greens is basically a bunch of fruits and veggies that are all ground up in a powder form, and you can add it to other things. You can add it to smoothies if you want. Now I'm going to warn you, if you are not used to eating lots of fruits and veggies, go light on it because it'll be strong to you. I'm just saying. And the other thing, if you want to make it fruity, I add a half a frozen banana. Frozen bananas give a creaminess to your smoothies, and so that's typically what I use most days, or strawberries or blueberries. And then you can add whatever oil you want to give a little bit of a boost, 2 to 3 drops, and typically the citrus oils are good ones to add. So on the right, I'm sharing with you one of my favorite combinations to make, and it is unsweetened milk, kale, frozen pineapple, and a drop or two of wild orange oil, and that's called my Kale Yeah smoothie. And so I love that one. So I just shared with y'all something that I love, and you get in some really good nutrients that way. And the other reason why I recommend smoothies or cold pressed juices is because it's one way to get in several of the servings of fruits and veggies that you need, which an adult should have around 9 servings of fruits and veggies a day. Other thing you can start to do is that moderate exercise we're talking about. So actually, if you want to get started, 30 minutes a day, 5 days a week is an awesome start, an awesome goal to work towards. And so a picture of me and my youngest sister walking in the state park that wasn't too far from my home. And we walk with an organization called Girl Trek, and that's what they recommend, 30 minutes a day, 5 days a week. I don't always get to do that, but that is what the goal is. And even if you don't have 30 solid minutes at one time, break it up. Do 15 in the morning, 15 in the evening, do 10, 3 times a day. I used to do that when I didn't have a lot of time. I would break it up at work, and I would do like a 10-minute walk throughout the day. And there are lots of benefits to walking. Just walk. You don't have to run, just walk. So it's good for your heart. It helps with weight loss. It increases your metabolism. It boosts your memory, and it tones your legs, your glutes, and your tummy, which I love about when you work out and stuff regularly. Your muscle memory is awesome. So your muscles remember that. So I know when I trained for my half marathon, I was like, how in the world am I going to be able to do this? But since I was training for it, my muscles remembered it. And so it wasn't the muscles that were, weren't going to give out. If anything gave out on me on the marathon, half marathon day, it's going to be your mind, your mental focus, psyching yourself out. So you can train your muscles to get used to the exercise. That's why I say break it down, do a little bit at a time if you're not able to do 30 minutes at first. So if you're watching this and you missed our other 2 classes this month, I always mention, I wouldn't be doing my job if I didn't mention how you can get the oils for yourself, because everybody that watches this I know may not have them. And so there are 3 ways you can get it. You can get it, buy it at retail. You can just go on whoever invited you to this class, go back to them and ask them how you can get it through them. And the reason why I send you back to the person who invited you, because that is going to be the person who will support you long term. That is the person who will be able to answer your questions. That is the person who's going to, give you all your extra information. That's the person who can be kind of your liaison if you need it with doTERRA, or give you information that you need. So you want to stay connected to that person, and you want to build that relationship with them. So the way you can, 3 ways you can get it. You can do retail. I don't ever recommend paying retail because that's wasting money. Wholesale, which you can get 25% off all things that are on the website if you have a wholesale account, and then you can make your own really cool wellness subscription box. And so I just have a couple of kits that are available temporarily right now, and they're really are created to speak to some of the things that are going on right now with the pandemic. And so the first one is the Respond Kit, and it has oils in there that are awesome because they're going to support you physically, mentally, and emotionally. So that's why I love that kit. It has the lemon in there, as we talked about it, frankincense and breathe that I mentioned as well. The copaiba is in there, and that's going to help with overall. Lots of people turn to copaiba for support in terms of inflammation and for joint wellness and health as well. And then adaptive. Adaptive is one of the newest oils that we have, and that is good for emotional support. I actually put some on today, right before this class, because I still get little mini panic attacks. I don't know why, I just do. And I put that on, and it's very calming. It's called the Calming Blend. It's very soothing. I highly recommend it to anyone who struggles with panic attacks, and what else? Panic attacks, anything that is, you need emotional support for it. It comes in an oil, and it comes in a supplement that you can take in the morning that will help you throughout the day. And then the Protect Kit, it's going to have things that I say it can help you on the go. It has the spray, it has the ONGUARD spray and oil. It's going to have things that you can put into your diffuser and diffuse and keep your air clean. And bergamot is in there. And at first when I looked at bergamot, I was like, what are you doing in here? But bergamot is one that is supposed to help you in terms of sleep as well. So on the side here, you can get a freebie if you need to get started. There's a way to get Citrus Bliss free. So just talk to the person who sent you to this class and to get started. And don't forget to mention to them, how do I get that free Citrus Bliss? And they'll be able to hook you up with that. So I have a perk alert. I talked about it a second ago. You can make your own wellness box. And as time goes on, you can earn more and more free points back. And so again, talk to the person who sent you here, and they'll tell you how you earn free stuff by creating your own wellness box each month. I do it and I love it. I think I have probably 300 points or more saved. And so what I do is I take those points and I go and buy extra special stuff just for me that I want to try, or that may be a little more expensive. And so I'll use my points for that. So maybe like getting my frankincense or Melissa, or I'll get the whole spa kit or something like that, something fun. Another perk alert is that you can earn free products by hosting a class with the person who referred you here. And you can also earn extra income. Like I said, I started doing this because I wanted a little extra income to plug in some holes each month in our budget. And it has really paid off in the long run, because I found something that I love, and I love sharing with other people and helping them to feel more empowered as well. And so again, I say get connected. My team that I work with directly are all the ladies that I have listed here: Tawana, Monica, Didi, Nichelle, Tyra, Alicia, and myself. So if any one of them invited you to watch this class today, please reach out back to them, or if any other wellness advocate or someone shared this class with you, talk to them. And if they're not doing the business or teaching and educating, they will be able to get you in contact with someone who does. If you don't hear back from them, or if you need to talk to someone and you just happen to find this class, you can always talk to me and I can help you or point you in the right direction. My goal is to educate you and teach you how to use the oils so that you can feel confident in using them and when to use them. So eventually you probably won't even need me or another wellness advocate. You'll be flying high on your own using your oils. And so these are the ways you can get in touch with us or keep in contact or learn even more. We have a Facebook page, so just go search on Facebook, Amazing Life Education, and that is a user group, and we're very active in that group. We play games, we have live videos for education all week long. And then if you want to I also have a personal business page. It's called Joy's Oil Well. You can search there. It is a new page and it is growing, and I'm going to start having more things, kind of what you saw today, more recipes, more ways to make small changes and things of that nature. Again, you can contact me directly at joy@joysoilwell.com. And I will get back to you, and keep track of that email, because each month we're going to have a giveaway for everyone who attends the classes. But in order to be entered in the giveaway, you have to answer these 4 questions. And so anybody can enter this. You don't have to be, a person that I'm connected to. You can be connected to anyone and enter it. And what I'll do is I'll just let them know that you entered the giveaway so that they'll know your answers to the question as well. But so you'll email me at joy@joysoilwell.com. And what you're going to tell me is, how would you rate your oil usage? 1, you never use them. 2, a little bit here and there. 3, you think you're a pro. Number 2, you're going to tell me, do you already have your own wholesale account? Yes, no. Are you interested in hosting a class? Yes, no, maybe. Because even, the maybes are important, because, there may be a way, if you're on the fence, we may be able to offer you something that'll get you off the fence. And then tell me who invited you to this class today. Answer those 4 questions and email them to me, and you're going to be entered into our giveaway for the month. And let me tell you, they're always awesome giveaways. So it never hurts to try. I love winning stuff. If it's free, it's for me. And so I was in the classes with a quote, and today's quote is, instead of saying that it's too expensive, try saying, my health is just not worth the investment, and see how that sounds. So if you kind of put it in that terms and reframe it and think, oh, I can't afford this, I can't afford that, just think, how much would you pay to invest in your health so that you don't feel as bad as you do, or you don't have to deal with the issues that you deal with day to day? I asked myself this question before, and I found ways to make sure that I keep my things that are supporting me in my budget, or find ways to get it. I'll be honest, my first kit that I got, I saved the money for it for 2 months, because that's how important it was to me to get it. So that's it. That's all I have. I am going to stop the recording, and we're going to answer any questions if we have them right quick. And I thank you all for joining me.